Good morning, everyone. November 30th, 2021. We're here Tuesday morning, and we're going to talk about the new hard to fill skills Saskatchewan provincial nominee program. So this is a brand new program that's being launched December 2021, and I'm going to tell you why it's important, why it's significant, what the major differences are, and why you should care. If you don't know who I am, Reza, licensed immigration consultant here in Canada. We have a whole team here that speaks over 7 languages in our office, and we help applicants both inside and outside Canada across the country. So the new hard to fill skills pilot program that's being introduced during this last week, which will be launched in December, there are some key factors. Yes, it requires an eligible and registered employer in Canada to sponsor you, so issue a full-time job offer. So you say, hey Reza, what is different in this program than all these other programs? I always need a job offer. Well, there's a few differences. One, if you're already inside Saskatchewan and you're working for that employer and they're willing to sponsor you, and you've been working there for 6 months, you're eligible. A lot of the provincial nominee programs like BC, Ontario, it's not as easy because either the points or the minimum requirements to have been working for them. So you're an international student there, and you need to gain experience to gain enough points or be eligible. Let's say under the Nova Scotia program, it's 1 year. But in Saskatchewan, if you're already working for that employer under this new program, 6 months is enough. So you have absolutely no work experience. So comparing it to Canadian experience class and express entry, with 6 months work experience for that employer, you could potentially be eligible for direct permanent residency through the Saskatchewan pilot program that's being launched in December of 2021. It does require a minimum language score that's going to be published in December. It will require some education, right? As long as you can show that you have some education, whether post-secondary. However, it's open to applicants from overseas as well. This is a low to semi-skilled stream. Okay, so you don't need to be professors or have these master's degree. These positions that are hard to fill will be very specific, so they have to be in these positions that the province will announce in December, so in the next few weeks, probably before Christmas holidays. So it won't be highly skilled, let's say software developers. No, it'll be cleaners, it'll be cooks, it'll be greenhouse workers, it'll be warehouse lift truck drivers or warehouse workers, food processing, manufacturing, all these semi-skilled to low-skilled. And why should you care that Saskatchewan is a good place to go as an international student or an international worker? Why? It's one of the only programs across Canada, not this pilot, but the province, that allows international students to gain eligible work experience while they're studying. This is unheard of anywhere in Canada under any other program. This is not related to this new program, but this has always been the case so far in the last few years under the Saskatchewan PNP program, the provincial nominee program. There's a lot of advantages in Saskatchewan to go there as a student or a worker. Your path to PR will be the same. And if anybody knows me, whenever they ask me, what is the easiest province to gain PR? I always say number 1, Saskatchewan. Then it's a combination of Atlantic provinces and Manitoba. If you don't know Atlantic, it's Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and New Brunswick. I've been to 3 out of those 4 Atlantic provinces. Saskatchewan is number 1. It's cold. It may not be the perfect place to live, but it will be your path to PR, the easiest path. If you're in Ontario, you know the point system may be challenging. Saskatchewan also has a point system, but it's very flexible. It's very much easier, let's say. Okay? And in case this is the first time you're watching, later this afternoon we're going to have a video about the direct PR streams for international students. So instead of coming in and going through job offers after graduation, looking for work experience, we will discuss the programs across Canada that will allow international students who graduate directly to apply for their PR. So that's later on, and if you're watching a recording of this video, you can browse through and watch that. And next week we're going to talk about the parents, grandparents sponsorship, what to expect and what are the major mistakes that people do, and the frequently asked questions about sponsoring your parents, grandparents in Canada if you're a Canadian PR citizen. Okay, and we're going to talk about the program coming up in 2022. So we're going to jump into live question answers right now. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. And yeah, this is the point where if you got the information you want, you can disconnect and start watching some other YouTube channels. But we're going to take all the live questions from the comment section of our viewers right now. And we're here every Tuesday, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. North America Eastern Standard Time. And today's afternoon session will be a bilingual Spanish-English session with my colleague Laura. So we have a few comments. So T. Nick Queen says, good morning, thank you. I'm sure it's not morning where you are, but good afternoon, good evening, good morning, no matter where you are. Bedros, hi Reza, do you think the new Omicron COVID variant will impact immigration or travel, possibly implement a new lockdown in Toronto? I'll be very honest with everybody. Canada and most countries cannot afford another lockdown. It's the logical thing to do later on if it spreads faster. However, nobody economically and financially can afford a lockdown. Okay, so they're going to depend on vaccination rates, preventative vaccination, being very cautious, masks, travel restrictions from specific countries, right? And yeah, we don't believe it will be a lockdown. You never know. March 2020, everything went into lockdown. But I'll be very honest, the financials do not make sense. There cannot be a lockdown because it's too costly. So, that's the way the government thinks. And unfortunately, businesses cannot afford to close down as well. They will lose money. They will go bankrupt. So nobody wants that. Carrie K, hello Raza, would you advise that we still go ahead with our visit visa application even with the COVID variant? If you are eligible under the new platform for IRCC to apply for a visitor visa, yeah, there's no reason, unless you're from one of these countries that has been flagged as for the new COVID variant. It may be challenging, but I would still go ahead. Travel restrictions will restrict specific flights from countries, and if you're vaccinated, and you will do a test before you board the plane and again when you arrive, it should be fine. Another thing, how does the consular ascertain that a bank statement that one has attached is legit? So it depends, Kerry K, from what country. So for example, in Nigeria, they have the My Bank Statement system, which has a QR code, there's a certificate. The embassy can verify with those banks that participate part of that program. In some countries that I've seen, they actually contact the bank and they ask for a verification of the balance. Okay, so sometimes they have an arrangement with the central bank or the individual banks. It depends region. In terms of the region and the embassy, I've seen all sorts of things, but they do verify that. In most cases, not all countries. Nasrin Ibrahimi says hello. Hello Nasrin, nice to meet you online on our YouTube channel. Elvis Sefa says I'm in outside Canada. How can I apply for this offer? You need so Elvis, the Saskatchewan pilot program for difficult to fill positions requires an employer job offer. That's the first thing. So you need an employer in Canada. And if you don't know how to come to Canada, well, a lot of times people come here as an international student. Then they work after graduation or during their studies to gain that path to permanent residency through the provincial program in Saskatchewan or any other program. Anil Reddy Chef, good morning, sir. Good morning to you. How are you doing today? Any updates on the spousal open work permit? As I said before, 2 to 3 months processing, but again, that's only if you've applied recently for a spousal open work permit through the overseas embassies. Elvis Fareza, I have received my acceptance letter from a DLI, designated learning institution. Do I need to pay for my tuition fees before I apply for a study permit? You don't have to. We highly advise depending on your country. So in some high refusal countries, we ask them to pay 1 year advance. Some other countries, we ask them to pay 1 semester. And some countries which are very relaxed, let's say with Mexico or Colombia, sometimes you can just pay the minimum deposit that the school has requested, right? So it depends on your nationality, your travel history, you know, all sorts of things. Tick Queen, yeah, Nick Queen. I applied for my visitor visa in July 2021. Biometrics done in July. When will I get back to a response? I'm in Jamaica. Nick Queen, I would request that if you meet the new eligibility criteria of the IRCC, which was launched in September 7th, 2021, you should reapply. Otherwise, it might take 6 months. Okay? Kerry K, do they contact banks in Kenya? I'm not sure, Kerry K. I'm not going to assume or give you some fluff that I don't know. With Kenya, I'm not too sure how they verify, but in most countries in Middle East, Asia, and Africa, they do. They have a system of verifying, okay? So the way it works is that either your profile is not strong and they don't even care if you have that money or not, and they'll just refuse you. But if your profile is good enough and they're willing to give you a visa, then they may, very likely, verify your bank balances with the bank through the central bank or any other system that they have in your country. Moshinoi 2K9. Moshinoi 2K9. That's a cool name. Good afternoon. Student visa backlog update, please. Well, most student visas are being processed within 2 to 2.5 months right now. If you're under the student direct stream, it's faster. However, in general, when somebody asks me that general question, I say 2 to 2.5 months. Some embassies are slower, some are fast. But if you've been waiting for 5-6 months, there's something wrong. But typically right now, from our clients, our students that we process, 2 to 2.5 months. Okay? So thank you everyone for the questions. Again, just to let everybody know, we are here every Tuesday. We're going to be back here today at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're overseas, that could be midnight or 2 a.m. or 9 p.m. I don't know, depending on where you are. West Africa or Asia, Middle East, India. And we will talk about direct PRs paths for international students. So no worries about job offers or work experience. You just get in, study, graduate, apply. That's how it is, and we're going to talk about that in English and Spanish today at 5, and next week we have more videos for you. So we have Lycanthrope 78. I assume you were born in 1978 and you're 43 years old. Hi Reza. So basically the new program in Saskatchewan, if you join a study program shorter than a year and you work in the proper area or position, you can still be eligible for PR. No, that's not exactly how it works. So you don't need to be in Saskatchewan, so you can be overseas, but you need an employer. So this is where most people have a challenge, right? They're like, hey, how am I supposed to find an employer in Saskatchewan? So either you're outside and you already have an employer and you have minimum 1 year work experience in that occupation, and they give you a job offer, you apply, you can get a PR and a work permit at the same time while your PR is being processed. If you're a student already in Saskatchewan or you're planning to come, what that means is you have a few options. You have the international student stream in Saskatchewan and this one, but these occupations are semi-skilled or low-skilled. Okay, so if you're already in Saskatchewan, there's other programs as an international student you can apply for. You can apply for this program as well. But the point is, it's the work experience 6 months. It's not the international student program, the academic program. Under 8 months, it doesn't give you a degree. So it's not even eligible. Okay, so be careful. I'm talking about work experience at the beginning of this video, not the duration of your study program in Saskatchewan. That program that's being launched in December, the pilot, is for everyone who meets the eligibility, not just for international students. The point I made is that if you have no employer, you can come to Saskatchewan, study minimum 8 months or more, get your degree, and then work, and potentially an employer will sponsor you. And it's much easier to find an employer in Saskatchewan if you're inside the province with a work permit or study permit than compared to finding somebody when you're overseas and nobody knows you or you don't know anybody in Saskatchewan. Okay? Elvis Stefan said, my aunt is my sponsor. Will this positively work for me as I apply for study permit? Well, it depends how old you are, Elvis. If you're 40 years old, no. If you're 20, 19, and you have a short education gap, yeah, it's fine. Proof of relationship with your aunt is very, very important. T-Nick Queen, thanks for the information. No problem, T-Nick Queen. Thanks again. And don't forget to subscribe, everyone, so you are aware of all our latest videos. We will change it around again for January 2022. Some new programs, some new ways of giving that information out to you. And don't forget to participate in our poll. So if you're watching this video, we have a poll every week. And do participate. This week's poll is about international students and how they select the school they want to study in Canada. Trinat Anirt, good morning, Reza. Any news yet on New Brunswick Private Career College stream? April 2022. That's when it's launched. We expect some preliminary information early in 2022. Nothing in detail announced yet beyond the occupations that were, I think, 29. 27 and the private colleges that are eligible. Nekpen Obi Finu, hello sir, hello back, nice to see you. Lycanthrope 78 says great thanks. Nekpan Obi Ifunu said, can you link someone with an employer? Well, technically you have to work with a recruitment firm or an HR firm or directly with an employer. It's something that the applicants usually have to do themselves or go through recruitment missions that employers have from Saskatchewan or other provinces, and they go overseas to specific countries. So you're basically, yeah, that's up to you, the applicant, to figure that out. If you're already here studying, then life is much easier for you. But if you're not, then it will be difficult to connect with an employer if you're not already, or you don't have family or friends in Saskatchewan who can help you. Okay, so if there's no more questions, we will wrap up. We don't want these videos to get too long. Again, everybody, the point of these videos is informative and then doing a live question answer, giving you insight, right? Giving you that feedback that you need without paying for consultation fees. That's why we're here on Tuesdays, to help everybody. And remember, I'm a first-generation immigrant. I immigrated several times to different countries. Our team is 99% first-generation immigrants, so we understand what it is. We understand the struggles, the challenges, the frustrations. We're not saying it's easy. If anybody says Canadian immigration is easy, they're lying. I'm sorry. Okay, unless you marry a Canadian and get sponsored, that's probably the easiest one. But everything else is BS. Thanks for everybody. Kerke, you have not answered my question. I believe I have, Kerry K. Another thing. How long does the consent that a bank sent that one has attached is legit? I already replied to that, actually. If you can just go back to the recordings afterwards, we've replied to all the questions one by one. So thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back here 5 p.m. again Eastern time, and we're going to be talking about direct PR streams for international students without a job offer, without work experience. Straightforward. Thanks everybody. We're going to stop now. Take care. Have a good day.